going to ask, the first question is, how long have you been working in ING?
How long have I been working in ING? I've been working in ING in Australia since April 2001. Before that I worked for ING back in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam.
Yep.
So in total I've been working for ING for about 13 years.
Okay, so is it international?
ING is international, but I worked in Amsterdam, and I applied for a job in Australia and moved to Australia.
Since 2001?
Since 2001, yeah. Correct.
Yeah. Okay, next question. Before you got in ING as the system support manager,
yeah.
What job did you get here, like, before you become the manager?
Okay, within ING you mean, or shall I just give you a bit of a rundown of where I started my IT career?
Yeah, start from your IT career.
Well, I studied in Eindhoven, which is in the Netherlands, which is where Philips invents all its products, Philips Electronics.
Philips company.
Yep. And I studied industrial engineering with operations research as a major, and then I moved into IT and I started working for IBM in the Netherlands. So I worked for IBM for 4 years in software development. And after that I started working for, I took a year off, had a bit of a travel, and as I told you just, I went through, on the way through Indonesia. And when I came back to the Netherlands, I started working for ING, firstly for ING Bank, and as a software developer. I've worked mainly on mainframe at that stage, so I'm talking about your IBM mainframes with PL1, COBOL, and IMS and DB2, all the things that you would probably consider to be very old-fashioned at this point in time. And at ING Bank I worked on the mortgage systems first, and then I worked on some other payment systems, and then we had the year 2000 stuff happening with replacement of some old legacy systems. And then I had a stint in infrastructure, so not any software development, but infrastructure, so there for a couple of years. I did a number of years in consultancy, which was IT consultancy predominantly. Excuse me. And then I moved to Australia, and over here I initially had a bit of a consultancy role as well. And along the way I've done quite a bit of project management, so I became a project manager here as well. I worked as a project manager for a number of years, delivering IT projects. Some of them smaller, some of them larger. And in 2006 I moved into a line management role, as you would call it now, and managing larger teams, development teams. And then as of only June this year, I've got a full-time role now as a support manager, basically looking after all of the support of all the team, all the systems that we have at ING.
Okay.
So it's
a bit history.
There's a bit of history, yeah. It's obviously you could do things more quickly, I suppose, like if you specialise things. But I've always been doing quite a few diverse things.
Alright,
does it make sense? You have to tell me if it doesn't make any sense, or if you have more questions.
I just confused about your legacy. What do you mean by legacy? You got changed from the old legacy to the new legacy.
Registry.
Registry.
Did I say legacy or registry? I have to rewind. But legacy systems are basically your old systems, and we've been replacing some legacy systems. So before year 2000, there were a number of systems that had been built probably in the 60s and 70s, and they had to be replaced. So at that time we replaced them with new systems. So they were called legacy systems because they were old systems, and we replaced them with new systems.
Yeah, we move on to maybe what kind of responsibility that you need to take care of everything, like the support, something like software development, did you say?
Yes, yes. So,
what kind of software development?
well, I've got software development in many different systems now. We've got, at ING, we've got systems on which we administer our products. So we sell life insurance, we sell superannuation, we sell pensions, we sell investment products. And we've got systems that are used by people in this building and in the call centers which they use to basically do transactions on the systems. I look after those. Those are predominantly, they run on Unix systems, some of them are COBOL, some of them are Java, there's a variety of different technologies. And I look after the support from an application software perspective, as well as to a certain extent the infrastructure on which they run. And then we have a number of other systems which are shared systems, like your general ledger system, which is for financial accounting, SAP, our commission systems. We've got other shared systems like imaging and workflow systems, which are used by the people in the admin areas for doing their day-to-day job. And so that's our shared systems. And then I'm also responsible for all of the systems that we have that are web facing, so the client or customer interfacing systems. Most of them are J2EE or Java development. Some of them are .NET, and they all interface with the other systems that I just referred to, like the shared systems and the product systems.
Okay, moving on. In your opinion, before we start like an IT career, do you think we have like a qualification or requirement, like skill for mastering application, such thing?
Is that, you mean for me or for anyone? For anyone I would hire?
Yep.
Well, I think any degree would be nice.
Any degree?
Because I think it just helps if you've had a university education, tertiary education, because it basically helps you think in a certain way. Whether that is mathematics or whether that is software development or whether that is... I've worked with people who had a medical degree. Didn't really make too much of a difference because they had a good, logical sense of to me, it wouldn't matter that much. Obviously your experience does matter. I think at this day and age, lots of people do software development. Lots of people would develop software for instance, for iPhones or for other stuff. So it's a bit of a blurred area. But I do think that the environment that I work in, working for an organisation to where we depend on our systems, requires discipline. You can't just make any change whenever you want. This requires discipline. We have processes around it that require controls, because by quite a few legal and government bodies, we're actually required to have controls in place, such as from APRA and from IFSA. They basically tell us what you can and what you can't do. So it's a very controlled environment. So you need to be disciplined, and you need to be used to be able to work in a place where there is some control and some rigor to follow the process.
Okay. So do you mean teamwork is very important in your IT career research project?
Yes, of course. I mean, if I can't do it all by myself.
Yes.
I've had various different teams and team sizes reporting into me, and you're relying on individuals and teams to make it work. Teamwork is very important. So it's an element of also what I was just saying about the control, because one person can't do things end to end. They have to hand off from one to the other. Someone does the software development in a test environment, another person does the testing in a test environment, then they hand off over to a user for user acceptance environment, and someone else puts it into a production environment. There is segregation of duties and separation of tasks. So therefore, yes, teamwork is imperative, and it's very important.
As well, the teamwork is very important. So what about communication skills? Is there any department which is like of need of communication skill, or our communication skill is very important for all type of job in IT?
I think in communication skills, there are different there's skills required at various levels. Obviously, do you guys have any? Have you done any development? Have you done any IT work yourselves?
Well, any Sanden?
Yeah, programming.
Yes. Have you tried to explain to your mother how a mobile phone works, or to your grandmother? And do you know how difficult that is? So if I'm as an IT person trying to explain